Today I'm gonna take you through one of my orchestral samples. Check it out. I started this sample with the cellos. Let's look at that pattern. Let's talk about the key. It's in A sharp minor. Think like, okay, I want to compose something in A minor. You have this really handy tool. Where is it? Helpers, scale highlighting, and then A sharp minor melodic in this case. Okay, so what do we have here? This is a cello. It's playing basically the ground note, A sharp. And then you see after one bar, the second in the key of A sharp is introduced. Then the third and then the fourth moves up. It sounds like this. I got a nice groove. You do that with playing around with the velocities. If I would make the velocities all even, it sounds a bit boring. Sounds like a whole different pattern. So make a nice groove over the one bar, copy it over. That way there's a little bit more movement and sounds more like a real player playing the cello. You won't play every note with the same velocity neither, so that's why you have to do that. Next pattern, violin, playing that same root note, A sharp, but in a higher register. Next up, another violin, playing a little melody in A sharp minor. So you see I only used notes on the lighter lines. And I created this little melody. I shifted it. It starts on the third beat. So there's a little gap that makes it more interesting because you see all the other things are playing all these notes from the start. And this one, da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. So gives a nice contrast. Sounds like this. So basically 3 times the same melody. 4th time I had to come up with a little variation. So it goes up instead of down. First notes are the same as these two, but these two go up. And another thing I did was octavate them. So it gives it a bit more of a thicker sound. If I would remove all these notes, whoa, would sound like this. If I put the octave back in, damn, there they are. So it's a lot more fuller, and I also played around with the velocities here. You can do that really simple. Now they're all the same. If I select all these notes, I press Alt R, then I can play around with the, oh, this is the pen knob, this is the velocity knob. You have all these different modes. You can listen to what sounds best. Next pattern, another string. I used a whole bunch of strings on this one. A different melody again. You see that I use these half steps. These are just a half note apart. Always make sure if you want to make it sound dark and mysterious and sinister that you use these notes that are a half of a note apart, because that creates a lot of tension. Okay, let's listen to it. Okay, what I did, 3 times the same melody, little variation in the 4th bar. Then this is basically the same as the first part, but then an octave higher. That's a cool little trick. If you want to make a 8-bar loop, I always try to go for an 8-bar loop in all my instruments. And if you have like a 4-bar loop that you're really happy with, you think works great, but you want to have a variation in bar 5 till 8, you can just pitch it up, pitch it down for the variation. That's this pattern. Then we have a piano playing, of course, an A sharp, so that's the bass note of the key, and then this little melody going downwards. It's really low, so it's really for the to have some low end in the sample to give it some bottom end. So you see here we have this, and then I chose a little variation at the end. Last but not least, we have these 2 pads and a bell, some texture in the background. Here's panning from left to right. Give it some space, some movement. And the bell. Okay, and we add all these elements together. You get the sample. The last thing you have to do, you have all these patterns, is arrange it out. So what I do, I send my samples out. So make sure the first part of the sample, every element is in there. So the listener gets interested right away. There's no time for long intros. It's a bit silly because normally a beat starts with an intro and then the hook comes in or the verse. So it's not the typical song structure, but it's just if you want to get the listener interested, I would start with all the elements in the beginning and then arrange it out. So this could work for the hook, and then we have a little less elements for the verse, a little bit more elements come in, more elements come in. This is basically the same as the hook, I think. Yeah. Oh no, I put a gross beat on it. It pitches it down. Oh, it's a halftime, yeah. So they can use that as well. And then we have all the elements separate, so they have the stems at the end. Hope you enjoyed this video. You see, this is my first video, so it's probably a bit boring. I need to work on my camera performance. But if you like this type of videos, like to take a look in the kitchen, let me know in the comments below. I'll make more of these videos and I'll try to put more production value into it.